Hello there, and welcome once again today. I remain Francis Isugu, the founder of the Nigeria Voters Alliance. With me today, I'll be looking at a few headlines of the news and begin our discussion from here. The major news captured here is that of the new minimum wage, and the issues around it are concerning VAT increase. That is, if taxpayers are going to consider paying higher taxes. Then another issue around it is on employment. And according to the statistics here, Nigeria needs 20.4 million new jobs annually. So this is an important issue considering the urgency of meeting up the demands for the new minimum wage approved by the Senate. Now, the minimum wage here is 30,000 naira. The issue about this amount is this amount going to solve the problems of civil servants and also those in the private sector? Is this amount something to applaud the government for? Is there some degree of sanity in choosing this amount, considering the disparity between the proposed amounts of 22,000 and 24,000 naira? Then the Senate comes with a new figure higher than the proposed amount, which is 30,000 naira. Is there anything about the choice of this amount? And then also a forecasted economic slowdown looming. Are we supposed to be preparing for a surprise attack on our economy, that is the global spate of recession affecting us here in Nigeria? Are we supposed to do something about this in view of making adequate preparation to see that we do not suffer a heavy blow this time? Another issue is, where will the money come from? For the payment of the minimum wage, where will the money come from? And this is an important issue already being debated, and we cannot close our eyes to the fact that some systems will be affected in order for this amount to be met. Now, before I continue the rest of the issues here, I want to discuss a bit about this. The increase on minimum wage is supposed to be a good thing, but looking at the journey so far, coming down to this point of 30,000 naira, the first minimum wage we could look back to was when the workers were earning 125 naira. Now, imagine the gap between 1980 and 2020 or 19, as the case is. The gap between this is 40 years. Now, in 40 years, the minimum wage has increased from 125 naira to 30,000 naira. What has happened to our economy within this time of this steady rise in minimum wage? Has our economy been growing in direct proportion with the rise in minimum wage, or the reverse is the case? Now, what I am particular about is that standard of living has increased, and then the reverse is the case because the economic planners are not compensating for the gross rise in food price and cost of living in Nigeria. So minimum wage is increased to give the workers a sort of incentive to continue enduring the harsh economic condition in which they live. Now, I will call it a bribe to the polity, a bribe to the people affected by an economy that is not properly run or not properly managed. Now, if this economy was boosted, as it were, or should be, within its sectors, that's, an economy is a comparison of three core areas, which is production, distribution, and consumption. And fundamental to economic growth is production. So to boost economy, there should be production along the different areas of people's demands from the market. So whatever is distributed in the market, there should be an increasing level of production to meet the demand. So supply at the middle, production at the first end, and demand at the other end. Now, for people to consume what is produced in the country, there is going to be a balance, of course. The supply is going to measure with the increasing demand. But we see a situation where the demand is increasing, production is very low or not there at all, and supply is also not reducing. Now, where are the products supplied coming from? That is the issue that has been ignored all the while. The products supplied are not coming from the same economy, so they are imported products. All aspects of our life, whatever we consume, is based on importation. Now, how can standard of life be low enough to accommodate what we earn as workers? This big question needs to be answered. We need to deal with this problem of production, which has been deficient in this country. So if we increase minimum wage to 50,000 to 100,000, it still will not solve our problems. Like I said, it is like a bribe to the workers to keep short and fit in to the standard of living, even when nothing is done about healing the problems of increasing standard of living. There is continuous inflation in all the areas of consumption. There is continuous inflation, and people are paying double for commodities and values, such that their money has no value. So the more money you spend on a simple product weakens the value of that money. So if you are giving 50,000 and the value of products is increased in pricing, your money will be less valuable. So it is not the amount of minimum wage you earn that would make you happy or comfortable in the society. Now, seeing this as a serious issue, Nigeria Voters Alliance is out to educate us Nigerians not to be quick to applaud the government for moves like this. I call it a bribe to workers. Now, you have seen the Labour Congress going on strike, trying to force the government to sign such increase. We should be expecting that those at the distribution sector will also be taking advantage of this increase. Since workers can now afford more, price is going to go higher. What measure will be put in place to control this price hike that we can anticipate? What will the government be doing to ensure that the consumers are protected at that end? Because that is where the money will be going. So wherever it is sourced from isn't as critical as where the money will be going at the end of the day. Now, I give another example. If all the products that are consumed are still not sourced locally, we are still going to have the problem of throwing money in the river. Because we say when we travel out of the country, we are going overseas. The same thing when we bring in products that we consume here, we are throwing our money overseas. So the money given to the workers will still not be with the workers. We are going to be throwing this money out because these prices, the food or commodity prices will be increased now to give more money to those who are on the distribution value chain. If we were going to settle this problem once and for all, we will look first at the source of this product. Now, I've taken time to look at this. because it is very important for us. And to understand how this affects us very critically, the Nigeria Voters Alliance has a handbook that every Nigerian should have a copy of at this time. Otherwise, you will continue to act and play ignorant, not knowing that whatever move the government is making, it is getting compensated at its own level in the other end that is not visible to you. So what they want to see a mild atmosphere where the people are no longer revolting. The people are feeling, okay, let us relax with this government, with this administration, so that they can now play their game. Now, they have pacts, memorandum of understanding with all of these guys who bring in products into the country, and they receive their own settlements at the corner that you do not see. Now, this is high or sophisticated level of bribery ongoing. The government is collecting bribes from different or through different agencies, through different parastatal. You can use the border check and control, custom, import duties. All of those stuffs are bribed because the commodities imported, some of them are illegal commodities, but they are allowed to come in because the government has a hand in receiving, what comes in from this area. Now, you are paying the price for saying yes to a government that is not feeding you with what you can produce. You are paying the price. And now, we want this to cease for the moment. I do not think giving support to Labour is the right thing to do, because Labour is also representing the government in disguise. We might all be naive about all of these things happening in the cover, but in the open, we can start now to prepare ourselves for the worst or for the best if we work together. Now, for the best, therefore, we have this Nigeria Voters Alliance handbook now available. If you go on the blog and choose to be a member of Nigeria Voters Alliance, you will be given access to the page to download the handbook, so you can begin to study and prepare for the best when we work together, or for the worst when you ignore this call for us to work together. So look down this video, you see the description, find the link there to the blog, and click on the link so you can access the blog. Read a few more details about Nigeria Voters Alliance, find the button to click for your registration, complete your survey and register. Then you access the handbook, study the handbook, and become an active member of Nigeria Voters Alliance in view of the projects we shall be launching to the benefit or for the benefit of all of us who are in this alliance together. So I'm going to be continuing looking at these issues, then also tell you one other project we have added to the plan. So when you give your support, you know exactly what we are going to be achieving with it. Good. Now, from the issues also discussed about this new minimum wage, there is the issue on changing of structures in civil service, where, for instance, young people should be allowed to head civil service in some areas. So the Lagos State is cited as an example here, with a 42-year-old person, head of civil service in Lagos, head of service in Lagos. Now, the argument is that when young people are allowed to come in, they are coming in with creativity and innovation. And we think this is the right thing to do. So, Nigeria Voters Alliance, we are going to be taking the lead also on this, making sure that areas that have redundance of old people are also going to be married with change here, because we are trying to change structures here where the young population in leadership will be increased. Besides creating new jobs here, so we want to see how the jobs we already have created, the openings already available, are going to be controlled and managed or in a way that will favor each and every one of us. And the young people are key drivers of the growth we are anticipating. So we are in support of this. Then another issue here is we need diversifying. Yeah, we need to diversify our economy.
Set my heart in motion, always time for a
price is high, which means that if we put in more into palm oil export, for instance, we are going to be having a lot in revenue accruing to our federation account. $1 in a ton of palm oil. So we should see where to lay more emphasis. Areas that we bring in more foreign exchange into the country should be emphasized in diversifying our economy. So whatever we put in effort at developing locally, we should look at how their value chain can also be developed for internal and external use or access. International trade, of course, the one that is beneficial to us, not the other way around of importation. Then also we see another issue here, letting others come in. Yes, this is an issue discussed in the handbook. Who are the others allowed to come in when we say we want to diversify the economy? First, in the handbook we call those in diaspora. These are Nigerians who have acquired knowledge, skill, competence, capacity, and are able to checkmate most of the areas where there are deficiencies using or applying their own acquired skill. Now, we explain this in detail, how these people can come in and help boost our economy. So when we say people coming in, we shouldn't be looking at foreigners working for foreign governments and we collecting taxes while they make the profit and send outside the country. No. Another issue we look at in the handbook is control of finance. We want every business operating in Nigeria to bank with Nigerian banks, not transfer of funds to foreign accounts. So that is another critical issue to look at. Now, as voters, we should understand all these issues that affect us in diverse ways. That is why the handbook is very critical for us now. And if you access a copy of the handbook, you can follow up on these issues we have already discussed. So more of these issues are making headline recently, which we can call an open source validation. Yes, endorsement of the Nigeria Voters Alliance handbook. So if you have this handbook, you see how it revolves around these issues now playing out in the media today. Okay, another issue is developing terrorism. Yes, we have tried in this aspect recently with the street festival we see going on in Calabar. Yes, it's an area because the rich diversity in Africa, in Nigeria in particular, allows us to showcase some of this cultural diversity that can be harmonized in entertainment. And then tourism is affected in this area when we project the right image of our diversification uniting us. Yes, our differences uniting us when harmonized. So we find that as an edge in culture and tourism. Then there are monumental places that need to also be developed, preserved, and projected. So this will also help in tourism. So we are in support of this, and the Nigeria Voters Alliance also will put in more investment in these areas of tourism. Good. Then also increase in productivity level for Nigeria. This area is industrial. Industries, factories, yes, production centers need to be developed. Productivity is not only in building infrastructure or building facilities or factories. It also concerns those who are playing key roles in managing these facilities once provided. So we need to marry these two things together now. The Nigeria Voters Alliance will be working more on policy or adjustments for the government. We are going to be reviewing a lot of public policies and try to suggest areas of adjustment for the government. Since we comprise the people who are playing an active role in the workforce, we are going to know the areas that affect us and see how these areas can be touched on for improvement. So that is why we shall detail and outline areas for improvement in government or public policies so that we can boost productivity economically. Then also, yes, we go back to the issue on ground, the inconclusiveness of the general elections, voting exercises with the supplementary elections that are still ongoing and issues around it. We, as Nigeria Voters Alliance, were more focused on implementing change in leadership, especially exercising our franchise in a free atmosphere, non-violent atmosphere, and with more application of intelligence and understanding, knowing who to choose for leadership, how to screen them, and how to hold them accountable as our leaders. So, this here is a point on integrating machine learning into our voting systems. Yes, and the point here is the logistics we spend in manual intelligence, that is employment of people to work in the polling units, working with INEC, control of policing, and all those securitization as a new term currently promoted in the media, making the place, trying to secure the environment during preparations and actual day for election, delivery of material, transporting of materials. All of these logistics have a high cost or price peg on them that we can help to reduce if we integrate machine learning. That is what we call artificial intelligence. So if we integrate artificial intelligence into the program we are going to build, into the product we are going to build and deliver for elections in this country, we are going to cut on price or costs, high cost of running elections in this country. Now, seeing the budgetary allocation for this and how it impacts the economy after especially dragging the issues as we have seen recently, you come to ask yourself, what was the achievement at the end of the day? All this money put into an election that remains inconclusive and supplementary elections here and there, are they not a waste and having negative impact on the economy? This is serious and we have to address it, of course. So for us to do this, we need to enlighten ourselves on how to use this machine learning when integrated in our voting system. And that is where we are looking at the issue of bribery. And according to arguments here, only human beings take bribes. Machines do not take bribes. Yeah, machines also cannot be manipulated. So we knew in our fundamental understanding of computer learning or machine learning that it is operating on a process or system of garbage in, garbage out. So once a program has been built, information, data collected and stored, all you expect to get as feedback is what you key into the system. It operates just the way it was programmed to operate. And this means that manipulations will not be there. Party influence on result outcome, snatching of ballot paper, destruction of voting materials, sensitive materials and non-sensitive materials, whatever the name we tag them. All of these things will end at just one time we adopt machine learning in our voting system. Now, we have seen the bills rejected, of course, by the presidency on using electronic voting system. We, as an alliance, will not be depending on this so-called approval or non-approval as we see going on these issues about election. We are going to build this ourselves. What does it cost? If you are running a company and your company is a tech company, you know that if you do not have your technology launched, you cannot operate, you cannot optimize performance, and so productivity will be affected. Now, if you are depending on technology, you have to build technology. And until you build technology, you cannot start generating revenue as a business. Then if your technology is having issues, you call it machine downtime, of course, productivity is affected and you concentrate on fixing it. Now, how do we apply this to politics, to governance, and to our electoral process? We want to see where our electoral process is transformed to one that acts like a tech company where if we put in this system, we will do nothing other than ensuring they are working, since we know that we depend on them for the outcomes of our elections. So if we have this put in place, we will not hear a situation of alternating between voter card readers and manual voting systems. There is no room for alternation. Downtime is downtime. If the machine is not working, it's not working. But we won't have all of this because we are working on a software level, not the hardware level. And the software level doesn't need a card reader, detector, metal detectors, no. Just your number as a voter is enough to validate, check your data and show that you are a qualified voter wherever you are voting from. Very easy. And then the system is reliable. You can access it on a mobile phone, or when the system is provided, a touch screen for voters to come and touch the screen. You choose who you want. You look at the profile of who you want to elect. Then how about print out of papers, ballot papers? All of these are high cost materials to produce. We limit all of this. So this is something to look at. It is for our good as a nation, and all of us, the voters, need this because our lives will no longer be put on the line if we can begin operating this system. So whether the government gives ear to this or not, we are going to plow the fund we receive from members' registration and payment of dues into producing this system and then duplicating them so that we can make them ready for the next elections. And then we are going to be marching to the House, the Senate, to demand that this system should be integrated into the electoral system. And then we know that a lot of things going wrong is about the enshrined code of conduct in our law. We are also going to be looking at areas of the law that needs amendment. So all of these are thought processes that will take time to look at as an alliance, as a body interested in good governance in Nigeria. So these are all we will be looking at today. We need to find an antidote to corruption, and for us, the antidote we need to cure the virus of corruption, especially in the matter of data management from the finance ministry or department, and public related data collection to poll analysis in electoral public data management. These, which are rudimentary areas that need to be handled with care, will need us to apply the antidote of an AI integrated voting system or data management system, which is basic in computer learning or computer programming. Now, we also have a concern here that the people infested by the virus of corruption in public offices, ministries, commissions, and agencies or parastatals of government need the antidote but cannot access them or find them themselves. And it's for this very reason that the Nigeria Voters Alliance will be coming in to intervene. Now, one of the areas of intervention is that the NVA project will be building a spy net. Now, on the area of media, freedom of media, which we have always had issues with, we are going to be looking at how, using this intelligence, security intelligence, we can capture raw data, that's information as they are occurring on the field, and report them as they are without dilution of information. So whether the presidency sees a need for freedom of media or not, we as an alliance are going to build this spy net that will enable us to capture information and secure our land, of course, by ensuring that no crime committed anywhere will go unreported, so that those who are involved in prosecution of criminals will have direct access to this intelligence from us. So if the security, policing, or whatever agencies are supposed to play a role here in ensuring that our lives and properties are protected have been given excuses, or that calling for cooperation with the locals, with our SpyNet projects built, we will be feeding them with the kind of information they need without fear or favor. So when crimes are committed in areas in our communities, we'll have our SpyNet drones driven around those areas, taking footages and reporting or transmitting this data or information gathered. Now, to finalize this discussion this morning, we want to say that bribery does not have machine language or machine application. Only humans exchange bribes. So we want to cast a vote of confidence on the machines or the technology we want to build. And we want everyone to accept them because it's for the good of our nation. We want to eradicate corruption. Then, we are drawing our motivation from the success story of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign in Borno, the Middle East of Nigeria. This campaign was effective because the women did not back down, despite the pressure and intimidation from the police force and the military used to intimidate them. They kept on to their mission and, of course, got the sympathy of the international community. That was a right step taken, and the record we still know was successful. It's in this spirit that Nigeria Voters Alliance will also be rearing a team that will speak louder than anyone has heard before in critiquing governments, in actions taken and negligences, such that if nothing would have been done about any issue that is of importance to the people, the voice of the Voters Alliance will be loud enough to compel government to take actions promptly rather than giving excuses. And a lot of areas of management and administration will also be handled systematically. So we want you, the voters, to see that this thing is for our good. We are doing this as people who have been affected so far over the years, and we want to see a better system in the management or running of our economy and our governance. So with your support, as a member of the Nigeria Voters Alliance, we can achieve all our goals and accomplish our projects, prospects, and meet deadlines and valuable timeline before the next election, so that we can control our leadership with our votes. So if you haven't registered yet, find the link below this video. You find the description under this video. Click the link, access the blog, get more information about Nigeria Voters Alliance, and then click on the button for registration. Submit your survey, give us your data and opinion, and then pay the membership fee of 2,000 naira. You'll be redirected after successful payment to the handbook download page, where you will learn more about the handbook. And when you have the handbook, study it and keep up to date with us, especially as we will be running monthly polls on a decision box. So where you tell us what you want, you make your demands, and we analyze these demands and ensure we can meet these demands. If we cannot meet the demand, and we'll push it to the lawmakers, to the government areas or ministry or departments concerned. So see this as your struggle, as your move for good governance, for justice, social justice, for equality, and for building Nigeria without discrimination. Thank you for your time, and stay with us every day as we keep ourselves updated on what is required to move our great nation forward. Thank you very much. Share this video also with your friends so that more persons can become aware of what we are doing. You are welcome.